in game number 2. Will they keep that up? So far it's the same. Urgot was their final ban. They will ban it again. So no change from Gen.G. Will we see a change from SKT?
Same ban so far as the Gragas does come out. Once again, we did see the Alistair be first pick. It was huge in game number 2, right? I don't feel bad about that pick anymore. We do have a mirror pick and ban so far, although now the Tahm Kench is going to come out.
Tahm Kench ignored. This time we go back to the playoffs meta. Ashe Tahm Kench every game if it's going to be locked in here. Ashe was nowhere to be seen in the LCK final. A lot of Korean pros I've talked to say she's fallen off too far and that she doesn't provide the same utility carry kind of status, at least based on scrims in the past 3 weeks. Again, we have that weird 3 weeks of off-screen scrimming that's happened. Can invite another Kai'Sa pick, and Gen.G just got their first win on Kai'Sa in game number 2, and they're going to go with a pretty damn familiar draft as they take Cuvée on the Gnar once again.
I feel like I've seen this before, although we have not seen Darius for Untara. We have seen it for Faker, though. Wukong even being hovered here. Seems like a couple of troll picks from Faker. I wanted it before, though. I wanted to see him on a carry, something that can get aggressive. What is it going to be here towards the end? It is going to be Kindred that was banned out so many times against Score in the LCK Summer Finals. We are going to see Blank on it this time around.
We talked about the tank top meta, that Untara was mimicking Impact in that way. Now we're seeing Kindred priority, which hasn't necessarily been there as much. To be fair, was banned very frequently and Score in the LCK final. Kindred has a very good matchup into most of the remaining junglers, and Blank has had enough of being on the dog side of the matchup for game number 3.
He wants to get in there, and now with Faker, I was calling for it after game number 2. I want to see him go on to something more carry-oriented. Crown in the mid lane could go something like Victor, Vel'Koz, already banning out that LeBlanc does lead me to think that way.
Speaking of NA, what about Zilean? An old pick of Faker is one he knows very, very well. Zilean Kindred, of course, the NA duo. Wonder if they would consider breaking that out here. Could be considered. Something Gen.G should be thinking about. Final ban on the blue side. What's it going to be from Gen.G? It's going to be another mid lane ban. The Azir is gone. If this was regular season, Faker would be jumping on Galio. We know all about that one. But the Galio priority is being lower. I'm feeling like last pick Zilean, if I'm being honest, Valdez.
Definitely could come out here as we see a third game of Ornn for Untara. He's Orntara at this point, halfway through this series, and well, you can't blame him. He's going to play the same tank over and over. He needs to show results somehow.
He's had meaner nicknames also, so he'll take Orntara as, look who's back. Back again, Xin Zhao on the blue side. Would they pair it with the Lulu to go for the very strong 2v2? What are we going to see from Crown? Was Fly, of course, on the Lulu in game number 1.
Okay, here we go. The Vel'Koz is going to come through. They didn't want to play that into LeBlanc or Azir, but now SKT with Faker. What is he going to counterpick into the mid lane is the big question.
A blind Vel'Koz is pretty bold. It's not the strongest. Can be safe. 3 points in W. He can clear. Syndra, favorite, of course, of Rookie. The Kassadin is pretty decent. This matchup we talked about in game number 2. Will they do it? Will they make it about Faker? They will in a different way. The Aurelia gets through picks and bans no longer, will be picked finally, and he wants to start hunting that Vel'Koz in the mid lane.
Yeah, the other two kind of seemed a little bit too exciting. The Aurelia makes a lot more sense into this matchup. It's part of the reason why it was banned out twice in a row. Aurelia Yasuo up against Faker. They didn't want to see it, but this time blind picking the Vel'Koz into it is an interesting choice.
Good for the matchup. Yes, Ignite Aurelia is, I want to kill Crown as much as possible. Consider, though, no ability power damage, not even an AP Kai'Sa on the side of SKT. And there will be tanky members. Ambition already showed he goes second item armor or magic resist on this Xin Zhao. So there is always that worry if the snowball doesn't actually stick. If Aurelia can't get a couple of kills shot with Trinity Force in 15 minutes and say, hey, come to my lane in the side lane, best of luck. SKT need to overtake the early game. They're not scaling this time. Let's see if Blank and Faker, unfortunately, off the same page for the majority of 2018. They need to get Aurelia going and get the early game rolling for SKT.
That you do, at least. I get what I called for. Faker on a carry, Blank also on a pick that he won't get dominated on. I feel like this is a good look for SKT as we're entering Game 3 and essentially what is a best of 3 to decide which team will even have a chance to make it into Worlds.
It's going to be another hindsight bias game. At 20 minutes, going to be so clear that SKT blew open the draft or screwed it up depending on results. Results orientated, unfortunately, is how you have to roll in a match like this. Both teams are used to it, and it sounds like we're ready to load into game number 3.
Looks like it. Ruler on the Kai'Sa again. Can he carry as he has many times for Gen.G is another question. The countdown has started. Let's jump into game number 3.
환영합니다. 생성까지 30초 남았습니다.
All comes down to this as we enter our best of 3. The first 2 games going even 1-1. And bang, this time on the Ashe. We'll see how he can do on a pick that we haven't seen too much in recent times.
And isn't it fun how we've already learned a lot from just before 2 games ago? We saw SKT play a scaling draft and outplay Gen.G in the early game, stick the landing in game number 1. We saw Gen.G face a pretty similar draft that actually was a little bit better in the early game and yet overcome it with some smart ganks in the mid lane, and that adjustment makes it 1-1. We've seen definitely some recent numbers to tell us that finally the Kai'Sa a worthy, effective pick for the side of Gen.G. And then get the Kai'Sa rolling. Seems like we're starting with a contest of this scuttle area.
They did this the last time.
I know.
Feels like game number 2 all over again. As once again,
Legends Bloodline for Ashe and also the Kai'Sa, so another AD Kai'Sa game. AP Kai'Sa priority huge. Just what, 4 days ago in the LCK final, we're back to AD Kai'Sa. And this time Faker can overtake the mid lane. This is, of course, just freshly nerfed Aurelia on patch 8.15 and not the buff for more damage to minions that came on 8.17. We're in this weird world, Valdez, where we're 3 patches behind live. Korea just patched to 8.18 today. So a lot is changing. In case you guys are wondering, because I know a lot of people are saying, oh, how can they even do this? They can't even play games. There is a tournament realm for them to practice on that is on patch 8.15. But yes, solo queue, of course, many patches ahead.
That's an interesting feel. Definitely gives us some work to remember the old meta, but I feel like it's pretty much the same as LCK Finals, just with Akali in it. It's actually exactly that, so.
When we saw Aurelia in the mid lane in that final, it was Wits End Rush Aurelia, Negatron Cloak into Wits End against a double AP laner's Gnar. You can't side lane against with the Wits End. So it's not quite that double trouble factor. As Kindred now knows she's very safe going for a Raptor steal. Good use of the Hawk Shot and, of course, the utility that Ashe provides in the laning phase.
I could start here for Blank. Was not able to get any marks just yet, as he did lose on the RNG. It was the top scuttle that was his mark.
Bit of visual lag here, just on our end, guys. Don't worry about that one. Tournament integrity just fine. It's nice headbutt Pulve.
Lots of damage coming out from Ruler already. And good follow-up there from Core JJ. You mentioned his win rate on the Alistair was 5-0. Now it's 6-0.
Yeah.
And he's looking for lucky number 7 here in game number 3.
That's half a Tarzan Trundle. That's pretty good.
Oh, man. Tarzan's pretty good on that champion. Ambition proved that he can play it too.
Didn't mention, but Crown is rocking the Glacial Augment. You see this over in the LPL. Cool from Fun Plus Phoenix running it as Faker's not level 6, but still looking for that early trading. It's usually level 6 where you pop off on that Aurelia.
Yeah, did take that. Wow, that was an interesting play from Crown there, but he did go for that Corruption pot. Just able to get that sustain in the lane. No Time Warp Tonic, of course, but...
Got him.
Nicely done there, but that
gives up his control wall. It doesn't feel that great, but you do, of course, feel fantastic about getting lane control. Has his minion disintegration available if he wants to control the wave, push it, or hold it. So it's pretty consequential interrupt there. No Sheen timing for the Aurelia.
Yeah, the change that did come to that rune, we're both forgetting the name of it right now. The Dematerializer. Yep. That's what it is. It's.
Come on, I was thinking of Velcos. Disintegration is pretty close.
You were on top of it there. was a little bit slower, but it's so good. Even after the nerf, where it comes a cannon wave later, it's still like ridiculously good. If you want to get aggressive, you use it to push. If you're in a passive lane, you use it to stay alive and just push back the lane.
Mission's going a long way. No, okay, just spotted the vision. So just clearing vision here, not going to face check blank. Would have been a bit obvious to duck in and look for a gank after that, given that he was revealed. So blank walks up and is now revealed as well. Scuttle Crab contest here. Ornn first to rotate.
It's pretty big.
Vel'Koz not level 6. That would have been really important here. Who's pincering who?
Lots of damage on the Q-bait already. Untara ridiculously tanky. And Crown, it looks like, was able to push a lot faster. Uh-oh, Blank, you're going to face check this. Takes a little bit of damage, but is able to hop away.
Again, level 6, and it's a different conundrum there, but they're going to get away. It's going to be just fine. I will implore our cameraman, hopefully he's listening. Level 6 Faker is when you pop it, you dive onto a minion with your Blade Surge, you ult the enemy, and that usually works out pretty well. Flash heal or no.
Picks up a phase, a little bit of extra damage, and speed, as well as just a little bit of extra health, just to make sure he doesn't get burst down by the Vel'Koz first.
A later buy, so not going to be Sheen, but does affect his burst rotation a little bit. Haven't done the math, so hard to say exactly there. Would it be 10 or 15 damage, I imagine, on an all-in. One of the reasons that Wit's End buff was buffed a little bit is that a lot of damage was shifted off of abilities on 815 and towards auto attacks, so on hit builds and the attack speed definitely behooved, but like we mentioned, not against double magic damage. Say, for example, Vel'Koz Cho'Gath, so would send too much of an investment early for the Aurelia, who wants to be 1-3-1 as early as possible.
Take a look down in the bottom lane every once in a while, but it's Tahm Kench. There it is, back in the mid lane. Level 6 Faker, the flash away, but it's not enough. First blood does go to the Aurelia as easy as you'd like.
Thank you, cameraman. This is what always happens. The moment you want it, you get it as an Aurelia. Beautiful play. We only saw the tail end, but the kill confirmed. Triumph proc comes in, and triumphant feel for Faker. First blood, SKT for the first time this series.
I like what Crown tried to do. He didn't flash right back in the lane, but he still got caught in the beginning.
Now, this wasn't the transition to level 6. Already 6 and gets hit by the stun. Went heal, and this choice could have been barrier, could have been cleanse. Went for the heal, and you know the moment that stun hits, Ignite Aurelia is going to take you straight to the bank.
No armor on the side of the Vel'Koz, was able to buy afterwards, still just goes straight into the Fiendish Codex, and so we'll see how he does the next time that combination comes around for Aurelia.
I wasn't able to comment on it. I mentioned how the Glacier Augment was a favorite of Core from Fun Plus Phoenix. The problem I have with it is that in the lane it's really obnoxious because it does let you hit your abilities better. But consider a team fight in this game. This is going to be Ornhorns and Ash Arrows. How are you ever going to auto-attack as a Vel'Koz? It could have been Unsealed Spellbook from the same line and just been Cleanse and Barrier and a heal. Because now you got nothing. You got no flash, you got no heal, and you're at the mercy of Faker's Vanguard's edge timing. Because the moment that's up, he goes again, and this time you're even more dead.
It's a bad feel, too, because it's going to force Crown to play passively. He can't push the lane as fast as he'd like. It's going to force Ambition to play around the mid lane a little bit more. It's going to steal a mark away, but look at the play here from SKT. They want to get proactive and dive into the bottom lane.
Definitely, and it's 5 men.
Oh boy. Well, Ruler and Core JJ, we'll see you later. See how that goes. Nice dodge into the flash, but how about an Aurelia as well? Down goes one, and Core JJ not going to be able to get out either. Effort perfectly tanking up that turret. A really nice play from SKT.
I'll take your sick out plays and I'll put you in the dumpster anyway, say SKT. Really nice play by Ruler, but then the 5th person comes, and we've all felt that feeling before. Where's my team? We can see them pushing. They're not going to get first turret blood, I don't believe. Actually leaving it for Ornn and shared gold. No local gold. They actually share it for the Ornn. Very interesting. Really wants a Frozen Heart, I guess. They lose out on mid lane turret, but SKT want to play 1-3-1 anyway. So because they have the ultimate 1-3-1 comp of Utility Ashe with a Tahm Kench ready to roam and engage from the mid lane and Aurelia in the side lane, they'll accept this and they'll take it with 2 kills.
Teleport comes in from Ornn. It was kind of overkill in the end. I mean, they had the Aurelia coming from behind. Lambs are spiked just in case they had to tank forever underneath the turret. Either way, it gets the job done, and game 1, SKT seems to be back.
And there's definitely drafts where you could squint at this trade and say, but what about the mid lane turret? The mid lane turret is the most important one. If it was a Cassiopeia mid who doesn't want a side lane or an Ori mid from SKT, then you could start to get some validity to that. But because it's Ashtom Kenj that can patrol mid, it doesn't actually matter as much in this particular draft. For now, in fact, their lane assignment with still things like Rift Herald on the map is a little bit different, and the Drake's going to be uncontested, whatever you say.
Curious about the marks here on Blank, though. He has given away a couple on the Rift Scuttlers. Should have picked one up in the bottom lane. I would expect him to be at 1 mark so far, but definitely fallen a little bit behind in that facet.
Interestingly, Cuvée has an Ancient Coin, so this is a I'm going to get 1v2 to miss CS and pick up some gold. Choice that we haven't seen in since, what, Gangplank with Klepto days. Nasus, the only other champion I can remember that took that coin in the top side. So a bit interesting here. Would have to run the numbers on it, but definitely been seeing much less priority in recent times. And for now, he's in the 1v1 where it offers very little.
Now, maybe not expecting the rotation, but this is pretty common, so a interesting choice for sure. Ambition looking for his 3rd Rift Herald of the night. See if he can actually do that. Has a little bit less pressure after the couple of assists that Kinder was able to pick up and the map control that SKT do have.
Rule's been priced into going for Rage Blade first. Should still be AD Kai'Sa, but usually that's the AP Kai'Sa route. Crown Splash still not up.
Oh, it's about 20 seconds away. It looks like they are thinking about a dive.
Oh, Untara and Faker weren't communicating.
Yeah, not communicating here. Untara just barely is going to survive.
That's a bad look, Valdez.
Yeah, that's not what you want. Stopwatch comes in. Faker says, nah, okay, we got it. And then Untara says, no, I'm going.
They definitely were not communicating there. First sign of top laner and mid lane being on different pages. Got to go with one call, and both players had a different idea. In the end, a summoner down, not quite as live, but not a good look for SKT.
They can get away with that because they are ahead. Faker is okay. It is only level 6 ultimate there from Crown. He's not going to burst down an Untara, who has no magic resist anyway this early on, so can spare them the blushes for now, but as you said, not the best look. Crown going to be happy that he didn't die. Doesn't have stopwatch now, but does have the flash.
Shelly got to meet Grump there. That was great. Always like Shelly, meeting new friends.
Always like to introduce her to all your friends on the Rift.
Her patience is legendary. You say that about some of your friends who really can deal with strong personalities. Shelly, great patience. About to go on a bit of an adventure. She's back in the pit. Can't really punish Untara using his flash there, so they're not able to take a Rift Herald. Kind of against the flow of the early game, which SKT have mostly run.
It has been theirs to run, as they do have a very fed Aurelia at this point. Even if she doesn't have a mid lane turret, she's playing like she has one because she's so far down the lane, and Crown just can't be anywhere because he no longer has a stopwatch. So they have the control of the map anyway.
New build here for Crown. I think he just wanted to get some power quickly. Support Twin Shadows. A lot more people buying Twin Shadows on support and also in carry lanes. Utility of the ability to check, of course, the Spooky Ghost, just being able to find enemies. When you're losing map control, if you can pick it up, it at least means, okay, let's make a play. Wait, let's make sure nobody's here. The Twin Shadows can be very useful. It's not super gold efficient or super golden efficient, but it's picking up a lot of priority in Korean solo queue. And speaking of priority, we're fighting apparently.
The Ghost spot Faker and Blank. Core JJ was looking for someone to get on top of, decides it's going to be Faker, but that's not going to do much at the end of the day. They use a teleport. Cuvée loses half of his life, and Gen.G trying to be proactive, not able to catch much.
That incomplete information popped over, and they realized, wait, we're not actually in the ascendancy here, and quickly moved away from that. Khan hasn't died during his flash cooldown, which was kind of something that looked like it was going to be inevitable. This felt like the 0-7 Vel'Koz game he had in spring, where he went down and down. They won that game with the ruler popping off on Tristana. Core JJ sniffing around, but it seems like they're just going to be defending here. We're not seeing Aurelia in the side lane just yet, as they want more members around the Rift Herald to stop sacrificing that one as SKT.
Untara, after that play, if you want to look at map movements, is able to move into the mid lane just in case anything else happens. If Gen.G wanted to try to stop a Rift Herald, he was there to go for it. Looks like Blank may have started it, but does just hop out of the pit. At the end of the day, not much else happens. Ambition, as I said before, Crown, he needs some help, and, well, he's got Ambition right behind him.
Nice ward, though, from Faker. We'll see people coming through that path that junglers can easily come in for a counter gank on. So no real ability to punish Faker. Again, this particular assignment doesn't get Faker as much experience and potentially as much gold as going to the side lane and trying to kill Cuvée, but it does give them the greatest chance to not lose Rift Herald. Untara pops his exhaust, they're chasing Cuvée, don't get the stun though.
Yeah, not able to get that, but they have the Ornhorn afterwards alongside of a Kindred. Should be an easy pickup. There it goes, on top of Blank, who is able to pick up the kill.
And again, this is what's allowed by Ornn and Kindred combined on the bot side and two members clearing on the top side. It's no free Rift Herald, no free lunches for Gen.G in game number 3.
SKT, once again, looking fantastic, kind of like they did in game number 1, where it was utter domination. I was thinking that Gen.G would have been the favorites in this one. I actually said 3-1 for them, but SKT, they haven't won this one yet, but they're proving me wrong and putting up a much better fight than I expected.
Credit to SKT is that game 2 was kind of decided early. The moment that flash went down on Lulu, they could get nothing out of Faker and the game fell away. This time they have multiple threats. This time Blank isn't on a terrible jungle matchup, and they've gotten the latitude to make plays like this because of their good plays in the early game. It follows logic. They're not giving up free objectives to do it. SKT, when the early game goes their way, definitely looking a bit more formidable than you might have expected based on their 7th place regular season standings.
I love how patiently they're playing too, even with the big lead that they do have in this one. No rushing the Rift Herald down, no pushing too far up the lane. Look at Bang just out-trade Ruler now. They thought Ambition was here. He's no longer here for the gank. They were trying to bait it out. Blank was in position just in case as well. And now the Kai'Sa has to back away, and maybe now this is the moment to get a turret and a Rift Herald for SKT.
This playstyle from SKT with 2 members top is a no way, where it's like, yes, I know your wily games, Gen.G. We're going to lose the minimum here. We're not going to gain the maximum, but we're going to keep gaining and keep slowly growing the gold lead. Yeah. And you have no counterplay to find an impact easily. Ruler was baiting and then ended up baiting himself into losing his health bar, and like you mentioned, free Rift Herald on the back and nothing free to Gen.G.
Lots of gold now going into SKT's pockets. They're going to be looking for more. It's been hard to push into the mid lane, even though, you know, I was saying it kind of felt like they had the turret. They would love to use that Rift Herald there.
How many different weird items can Crown build on this champion? He's now building towards, I don't know, a Gunblade maybe?
Maybe he forgot what champion he was playing. Either way, the arrow gonna land onto him. Crown forced to flash again. Effort still looking for an opportunity, but they get a couple of flashes away, or rather just one from Crown. They are able to get away. Just an Ocean Drake for their troubles going to SKT.
I guess it could be a GLP. That does make some sense, because it's not gonna be a Protobelt, that's for sure. I was like, wait, definitely not Protobelt. SKT?
Gunblade Vel'Koz debuted here tonight.
I definitely power rank Gunblade above Protobelt for why are you Protobelting towards someone?
Yeah, maybe he wants to Protobelt away. He saw the Gragas play,
tricky,
and he's like, ooh,
tricky.
Maybe I could make this work on Vel'Koz.
Faker is stronger than you might think. He's got that Trinity Force and more.
Yeah, CoreJJ no ultimate here, has to flash away. Might be biting the dust anyway. Look at Untara's positioning. Looking for the knockup, might be able to get it here. Super close. CoreJJ in a lot of trouble, and a 3-man stun, and Faker is able to get gobbled up and gets away from any follow-up damage.
Not able to get away there are Gen.G. They're paying for every mistake here. Cuvée is going to solo push in the bot side, but that's far from the main story here. Blank will pull away. Consulting some of those Korean solo queue builds, this just seems to be all about using the Glacial Augment to its maximum because, again, you have so many stacking slows. But as it's being built here by Crown, you don't feel the oomph of any purchase. No Sorcerer's Shoes, the Twin Shadows about utility. They're definitely not min-maxing damage on the side of that Vel'Koz. Meanwhile, Aurelia, she's close to the wit's end. We mentioned you couldn't rush it because of the mixed damage. If you got both, you're feeling pretty sweet.
Faker, give him an opportunity to carry. He's going to do it if he's on form, if he's got some people around him to not feed. And it looks like that's on the cards tonight here for SKT.
Okay.
They want to kill now onto Ruler. He's so close to going down, just barely able to take him out as Bang. Really nice calculation on that play. Takes him out with the red buff and the rest of his abilities.
2 disrespects in a row, and Bang punishes both of them. Gets the kill the second time. Really nicely done, but Ruler cannot walk up. This is far from game number 2. He's actually going to go AP Kai'Sa from behind, despite having Legends Bloodline, no teleport like most AP Kaisas will have to ensure the laning phase. I'm not sure we'll ever see 3-item AP Kai'Sa, because here comes the Rift Herald, and here comes SKT.
And 3 games of Ornn in a row means that if you're ahead, especially, you can always force it and engage. Untara trying to come in from the right side, wants to go for it, is going to wait for that moment, but they don't need to do it right now. The Rift Herald getting so much value. Faker in the top lane as well, getting even more. And SKT looking really solid once again.
They definitely seem so comfortable in the front foot when they're able to get a lead early. They are translating it in some great ways here. I wonder if you even have to ban Kindred to remove this sort of an option from Blank. While he hasn't necessarily been the star, he hasn't just been sitting there hoping that people don't come and invade him. Xin Zhao for a second time not working out, and Ruler says, I can walk up. He definitely cannot.
Maybe he thought that Tahm Kench was on his team because he's used to playing with it so often, but Alistair not able to do much in that position.
I like how your analysis has been, maybe he thought he was a different champion. Maybe he thought the enemy's champion was the enemy side. I think if you read between the lines, you're saying these are just not the sort of errors we expect Ruler to be making.
Oh, yeah.
He certainly looked by far a second-class citizen compared to Uzi in that final against China. And here, he's just taking too many liberties, and you can't do that when your team's behind.
Yep, not the best look for him. Bang on the other side uses the couple of luxury kills he's picked up to get a stopwatch on top of the Tahm Kench, which means basically he's not going to die. How about 645 damage to Ambition? I remember a number that's very close to that one, but this time it's on the opposite side. Blank having a much better game this time on the Kindred.
He's got some time to shine, but maybe not if the Baron just goes down at 22 minutes. Twin Shadows coming up big.
Hey, there you go. You're able to spot the Baron with that one, but have they stepped forward too far?
No flash.
Crown with no flash. Nice knockup though, but it doesn't matter. Faker able to get on top of one, nearly takes out the second one. The Lancer spike just barely keeps him alive as he's able to get back in 2 minutes. Not on the backside. Untara as well with the follow-up. SKT, they're looking for the ace and they're gonna get it here in game number 3. Unbelievable, ahead 11-0 now.
And it's a clean ace as well. Beautiful play by SKT. No flash means no problem for them. How much can they get? Can the game just end?
Faker's on fire tonight when he gets on the carries. You can see it in his face, the passion. And SKT now, they're pushing for the end.
It seemed like 26 minutes was early. It's 22 minutes in.
I mean, there's just nobody to stop it now. 5 members of SKT barreling straight down the top lane. They're going to take out the Nexus here. The GLP was correct, but it couldn't do much. Trying to get away and do that damage, and they do. Game 3 is going to go to SKT.
SKT put Gen.G to the sword in game number 3. Explode them with that clean ace on the top side. 22 minutes 52, one of the shortest games of the summer.